Another way we can get our name could be past life name patterns. So when your soul travels together across lifetimes, our names can repeat or echo.
For generations, women were shamed for trusting themselves, sensing things before they happen, and believing in their own power. No one encouraged them to embrace it until now. Welcome to Trust Yourself.
Heidi May.
What?
See? Yeah. Does it make you nervous to hear your full name?
Yeah. Well, that wasn't even my full name. That wasn't, you middle named me. Thanks for that. I'm awake now.
Sorry. Hi, I'm Elise, but my sister calls me Sissy.
And I'm Heidi May, her sister.
Own it, Heidi. And we are your favorite psychic sisters. And today, if you haven't guessed already, we are talking about something you've had your whole life, but you've probably never questioned it: your name. Your name isn't just a label. It's one of the first energetic imprints that you ever receive. And today we're getting into what's really in a name, energetically, spiritually, maybe even across lifetimes. So when I think about name energy, I think about how a name sets the tone for who you are and who you become, because it's the first thing that the world assigns to you, and it already carries a vibration. Most of us, I feel like, don't even stop to think about it, but our name is spoken thousands of times in our lifetime by people you love, by people that are mad at you, strangers, friends. And every time it's said, it sends out a frequency. I personally know so many women are reinventing themselves, new careers, new beliefs, new identities. But I think we should also stop and assess the name that we are carrying into that next chapter. I'm not saying that everybody needs to change their name. I'm not at all.
I'm pretty sure that the government would hate you if everybody starts changing their name.
Yeah. Because this identity shapes our reality, I think that our names are really overlooked forces that can shape our lives, good or bad, right? So we don't have to change our name, but I think it's interesting that we kind of tend to overlook it. So maybe today we dive into how we feel about our name and even our nicknames and our pet names, because it is going to have an impact on you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, man. Let's talk about it.
Okay.
I'm excited.
So how does it work? Let's get into the specifics. Names carry vibrations. I'm sure you may have seen this if you're on the witchy side of TikTok or Instagram, but they say, it's called spelling because you are casting a spell. Your words are essentially a sound spell, if you will. And so every sound, it has a frequency. The vowels and consonants in your name, they literally create a sonic pattern. And some spiritual traditions assign an energetic meaning to each letter. And another layer on top of that is numerology, which also assigns, I believe it's meaning to the numbers assigned to the letters. Is that right?
Well, each letter is associated with a number, and then the number has a meaning. So your name has an energetic meaning in numerology as well.
Yeah. So all of these layers with just your name. And we don't have to go into the deep into the maths of it all, but the idea that your name is the sound spell is so interesting to me and carries a vibration. I mean, just think about it, when you get full named, just like I did to you, Heidi May, it kind of can give you an energy shift, right?
Yes.
I mean, that's also associated with how you say it. So maybe that's not a good analogy there, but I think it's fascinating that all of these vibrations can really impact you every time someone says your name. And every time I think of this, I think of when you, Heidi, call me my real name, Elise. It freaks me out.
Yeah, I hate it. I don't like it at all.
You call me Sissy.
It gives me like the heebie-jeebies, like
the ick.
My internal, okay. It gives me the ick. That is a good word for it, because internally I feel like I cringe. So I cannot say it out loud. If I do, it feels wrong, but Sissy feels so normal and natural. Right. And that is who you are. You are Sissy to me. You have always been Sissy to me. And if you are ever anything else, it is wrong.
Yeah. So let's think about the way that we get our names. And the very first and obvious way is that our parents named us. And I think usually our parents' names they come out intuitively, and maybe they're forced, like you have to name my kid my great uncle's name, blah, blah, blah. I don't know.
That's a bummer.
But I do think that parents intuitively choose their children's names, usually.
As a former L&D nurse, I beg to differ sometimes.
Oh, okay. Oh, please give me stories.
Oh, that could be an entire episode.
But first, can you just tell me like the weirdest kid's name you've ever heard?
Well, the one that we ended up talking the mother out of it because English was not her first language.
Yeah.
And she had heard this when the doctors were talking to them about the baby and being born and all this stuff. And she heard the word meconium, and she thought meconium would be a beautiful name until we explained meconium is the first poop the baby passes. And please, dear God, do not name your baby meconium.
Maybe change it to like Meconia.
I don't know. I don't even remember what she ended up going with something that was like traditional to her culture. But I was like, oh, thank God, please don't do
Okay,
meconium.
that's a good one. That's a good change, I think. There are some unique names out there, but to each his own, of course.
Yes.
At least some of the parents that I know that have given their kids name, I feel like they talk about it as coming to them, right? As an intuitive instinct. They just knew the name, or they waited until their baby was born to feel like if this name was right or not. I was almost named Elizabeth, but my cousin was born a month before me and they named her Elizabeth. And so the story goes, my mom went to her grandma saying, I can't name her Elizabeth now. What do I do? And grandma says, name her the German word for Elizabeth, which is Elise.
Perfect.
Supposedly. I don't know if that's correct.
I like
or
that
not,
story. Well, I mean, I wonder if they named Elizabeth Elizabeth because that's our grandma's name. So was that like a nod to
her middle name? Yeah.
Yeah. Was it? Okay.
Mm-hmm.
I was just curious.
I think so.
If you knew that. Yeah.
But I don't know. So obviously our parents pivoted, and it makes me wonder if it was always supposed to be that way. And I like it.
I mean, I think that kind of sort of similar thing with me. Mom couldn't decide between two names. It was Heidi or Aaron. Ugh. And apparently the story goes, when I was born, the doctor looked at me and said, nah, she's a Heidi. And so it was.
So the doctor chose for you.
Yeah, that's what mom says that's true. So I believe it.
I love the name Aaron, but you are not
for me.
An Aaron.
Absolutely fucking not. I don't know. Nothing against the name Aaron. It just it feels like I get the ick. I get the ick for me.
So funny.
Specifically.
You get the ick with lots of names.
I guess I do. Oh, here's another one.
Yes.
Glenn Powell, the actor. Every time I look at him, I'm like, you do not look like a Glenn. Why are you Glenn? He's like an attractive man. And then his name is Glenn, and it just the vibe isn't matching.
What? That's so random.
It bothers me. Every time I see him acting, I'm like, could we change your name, please? I mean, I'm sure it's a beautiful family name and he probably loves it, but he just, I can't, my brain doesn't work that way.
That's funny. I don't mind Glenn. He's cute.
He's very cute, but he just doesn't seem like a Glenn to me. Feels like he should be something completely different.
Well, then you call him something else in your mind, Heidi. And everyone else, the whole world, will call him Glenn Powell.
Okay, that makes sense.
So the other way we can get our names is through nicknames. Obviously, we've all probably got them. You can create them. Your friends can create them. It kind of lets you curate your own energy. And it's like an energetic outfit. You can choose how casual or playful or powerful you want it to feel. It also works with pet names too, right? Like the nicknames that your partner gives you. It has an energy behind it. And it's so funny because I used to hate when couples called each other babe. Babe, hey babe. Like specifically Jessica Simpson and Nick Lachey. Did you watch that show?
Of course I watched that show.
I can't remember what the show's name was
Newlyweds.
No, yes.
It was fucking Newlyweds.
It was like every other fucking word. Babe, hey babe, babe.
I thought it was baby too. Like it was a lot of baby.
Oh, maybe it was baby.
It was a lot of baby.
It was just, maybe it's just whiny. But I'm like, I am never calling my husband babe. Well, I call Sean babe quite a bit now, but it just it fits. It works for us. But
there's been so many times where I've thought about this. Where I'm like, what else could you use? Because I also had the feeling of like calling somebody baby all the time or babe. It's like, what else could we do? And it's like,
my neighbor calls his wife darling, and it's so sweet. I couldn't do it to Sean, but that's sweet.
Nope. No. And it's funny because with Kent and I, it's like, it's very specific. It's not babe. It's not baby. It's beba.
Oh, yes. You guys do beba.
Beba.
I'm like, what? Are you lazy? What? Beba.
I think it's just like, I don't know. I really don't know. It just stuck. And then it's like almost like a very unserious version of babe or baby. It's just like beba.
Well, that's cute. That works for you guys.
It works. It does.
Harriet, my oldest daughter, Harriet, we were thinking of nicknames for her. We're like, well, maybe we could do a nickname because it's kind of long. It's very traditional. But we ended up just, kind of slips out and we just call her Harry. And Mom did not like that too much. And
actually, wasn't this even before she was born? She like was deciding her own nickname before Harriet was born.
Well, the very first time I took Harriet to church in Milwaukee, which is where my dad was preaching at the time. I think she was like 3 months old or something. We walk in and this lady next to me, she goes, "Oh, is that Hattie?" I'm like, "Who?"
Did somebody give me the wrong baby? Like, who the fuck is Hattie?
Turns out Mom told everyone in church that Harriet's nickname was going to be Hattie.
No, not at all.
It's not. But
if you knew Harriet, you'd be like, fuck that. She is not a Hattie. But I mean, Mom even agrees, like, she's Harriet. And
I think it's so funny. And I'm also, I don't want to be like one of those parents that's like, ew, no, don't ever call her that. But it didn't work. I'm like, it didn't click. And we just kept calling her Harry. And I think there's a reason why, and I'm going to get into that in a little second, but you will see. Okay, another way we get our names. Obviously, legal name changes, but this can also be marriage or divorce or spiritual rebirth or even gender transition. This is a shift in identity as well as energetic identity. So changing your name legally, it rewires how you see yourself and also how the world sees you. And it's one of the most powerful energetic resets that I think that a person can do. I was personally super excited to go from Hanson to Kelly, and I felt really powerful doing that. And I was like, "Ooh, Elise Kelly, it sounds like a reporter."
It does. It really does. I like it a lot.
Or a famous designer. I don't know. What's funny is when I did the numerology on it and I talked to
Vicky Rockcliffe.
Yes, when we talked to Vicky Rockcliffe on our episode, she said that my name change actually was a numerology number 8. So it was a powerful shift, I believe. So that made sense why it shifted for me. But Heidi, you have a different story with yours.
Yeah. So, okay, I think I can literally trace this back to when I was 16 years old and I was working at Albertsons bagging groceries. Oh, and
Albertsons.
Yeah.
I forgot about Albertsons.
Yep. One of my 30 plus jobs. But like we had a name tag and for some whatever fucking reason, I'm pretty sure it had our full name on it. And somebody read it and they were like, Heidi Hansen, that sounds like a famous person's name. I'm like, yeah, it fucking does.
Yeah.
And then instantly in my head, I was like, oh, I'm going to be fucking famous. So when that didn't pan out and also growing up like in your teens and then early 20s, I was always excited. I'm like, oh, I can't wait to change my name, like find somebody to marry and change my name. So I was excited to do that. But then when it came time to actually doing it and I was signing the paperwork, I remember this feeling of just like, not like a feeling like, oh, you shouldn't do this, but like a feeling of like, this is big. This is a big shift. I don't think you're aware of how big this is. And I just was like, okay, whatever, I'm going to ignore that. And I changed my name. But then I went through this like period of time where I felt very disconnected to myself. I was like, I'm not a Shroud. I have no Shroud blood in my body. Like, I feel like I just ditched my whole family. Like Hansen, that's me. I am a Hansen. And so I really had to come to terms with this. And I will say also many times my husband did tell me like, I don't care if you change your name back. I really don't care. He's very supportive of that. And, you know, I still may do that, but
on the podcast, you are
on the
Heidi
podcast
Hansen.
and professionally, I am known as Heidi Hansen because I honestly just don't want to go through that headache of changing my name again.
Yes.
But especially now with like all the other things going on.
Ugh.
So I'm just like, yeah, it'll be there. But the fact that I can still call myself Heidi Hansen on this and on my other professional platforms, it's like, okay, that feels good enough for me right now. But yeah, very odd how that is so different from us, like for both of us.
I am all for women keeping their last name. Let's not erase our heritage with taking someone else's name. But that is what I say. But yet I took my husband's last name.
But more and more people aren't. And I think that is a beautiful thing that it is getting embraced. I have multiple people getting married right now, my friends, and they're all like, no, I'm keeping my last name. I'm like, yeah, I like that for you.
Good.
Really do.
I also love how when people transition genders, our cousin transitioned and he is now so happy with his name. And what's beautiful was he picked a name that still kind of touched on his own heritage and his family's background, but also something that gave him life and excitement. And so now every time he says it, he's like, it just brings me joy hearing it, which is so good. And not only in when you have a gender transition, but also people doing spiritual rebirths. I think that's fantastic when they go through some huge traumatic event and decide like, my name's going to die with this event and I'm going to go rebirth myself and rename myself and have like a renaming ceremony. I think that's so cool and so powerful. And you get to pick your own name, like Princess Consuela Banana Hammock. But
Exactly. No. I also think it doesn't have to be like a big traumatic event too. Like even just having a spiritual awakening. A lot of people I know will almost like hear, like they'll get a download of like, oh, this is what my light code name is or something. And it's something like Soraya or something, like something very like ethereal. And some people choose to not make that their legal name, but some people choose to make it their legal name. So it is like, there's so many ways. But kind of going back real quick to our cousin, I was just thinking as you were describing this too, like how weird do you think it felt for him to be called like this female name his whole life and being like, that is not me, Like, I can't even imagine what that feels like of being called something like, and that also goes to show the weight of a name, of like the energy imprint of like, that can impact you so strongly. And it's just a name, you think it's just a name, but like, it's never just a name. It carries so much more than that.
Yeah, it's so powerful. I know every time I write my name down or put it on my name tag, I love it. I love looking at my name. I love saying my name. And like you said, I can't imagine how it would feel if you just don't feel aligned with that.
I love the renaming ceremonies for transgender kids too. Like people will have like a new birthday or like a new like gender reveal and they're like, oops, we got it wrong. I've seen some of those. They're so fun. I love the support.
Okay, one more thing. Another way we can get our name could be past life name patterns. So when your soul travels together across lifetimes, I feel like our names can repeat or echo as if it's like a name beacon or a way for our soul families to recognize each other.
I got chills, goosies. Love it.
And if you haven't heard this episode yet, go back to episode 19. And it's all about my middle child, Nora, who had a past life experience. I won't get into the details, but what really got me was that the names in her past life family, they nearly replicated all of my kids' names. And so Nora had a mom named Frances and went by like Frankie or something, and a brother whose name was Harry. And now Nora has a brother named Frankie and a sister named Harriet, but we call her Harry, which again had me thinking, whoa, did I call her Harry because of a past life or just because I didn't want to call her Hattie?
Oh man, I still get goosies from that. It is wild. Like when we looked through that and we found all the names, we're like, oh my God, how similar is this?
I know. It's so crazy. And it's like the souls are saying, okay, we're doing this again. And they pick the same names.
We're doing the same thing, but we're going to switch it up. Instead of you being my mom, you're going to be my sister this time.
Exactly. Which also is funny because now that I think about it, Frankie loves being so caring and cleaning and cooking.
Yep.
I am not making this shit up. And I'm also not trying to stereotype female roles, but
he was for sure a mother in a past life. Let's just say that.
Yes. But yeah, I do feel like that is energetic intention across lifetimes.
Mm-hmm.
So maybe if you don't like your name now, what if it was just one of your past life names kind of seeping through? And then if you don't like it, maybe change it to something else that fits for this lifetime. Just food for thought. Okay. So what do we do if, you're not feeling very aligned with your name and you don't want to change it? That's totally fine. But I feel like first maybe say your name out loud and see, how does it feel in your mouth, in your chest? Like, how do you sit with it? Do you feel pride or resistance? And if there is resistance, maybe kind of go into why that is. Sometimes you might not get an answer, but I know, Heidi, you like to do automatic writing.
Mm-hmm.
What if you just do an automatic writing on your name? Be like, why is my name the way it is? And why do I not feel connected to it?
That's a good point. I should do that.
And another thing you can think about is your own nickname. Like, who gave it to you? Did you give it to yourself or did somebody else give it to you? And when? Was it a long time ago?
This is an unpopular opinion maybe, but I don't think you can give yourself a nickname. Like, not when it's true. Like not, unless it's like a shortened version of your original name, that's fine. Yeah. But for example, my nickname that Dad gave me, Spiders. Like nobody could do that, but it was like Heidi turned into Heider's Biters, turned into Heider's Biters Spiders, which consolidated just into Spiders.
Yeah.
So I am Spiders to my dad, to my mom,
that's true.
To nobody else.
But if your name is Elizabeth and you choose to go by Liz or Beth, like that is choosing. Your choice. Yeah, you can choose because I'm like, I feel so much more like a Beth than a Liz, That's your own
Betty,
choice.
Oh, I love a Betty.
Yes.
Yeah.
So are these nicknames that you have, do they light you up? Is there one that makes you cringe? And then just tell people, please stop calling me that.
Oh, really? Like your nickname when you were a child, when you were still in diapers?
Yeah. No one calls me that anymore.
You don't want to be called Leaky Butt? Leaky Butt with her little bird legs and all her leaky diapers.
That's nice. That's nice. Yeah, that's one that can
for
stay in the 18-month and under category.
Mm-hmm.
We didn't bring that into my adult life, thank God.
No. Well, it turned into Lacey, which makes sense.
Lacey works. That's fine. And then if your name changed during marriage, reflect on the shift. Did it feel like something inside of you changed too? Did it feel like you gained something? Did you lose something? Maybe there's both. But whatever it is, consider just for now, maybe changing a nickname or consider giving yourself an alter ego. If you don't want to change your name, you can change your name for yourself. For example, if I didn't like my name, I go by Veda Monroe as my alter ego to give me some power, make me feel more strong. Because to me, Elise Kelly, she sounds so grounded and nice, like nice girl. But when I step into Veda, that's like center stage, knock your socks off energy, right? It just sounds and feels different.
She's not a doormat.
She's not a doormat. No. So yeah, if you want to just give yourself an alter ego name so that you can feel that energy. For me, knowing what I know now about Nora's past life and the name connection between my kids, I truly think that names aren't random. I do think that they are breadcrumbs from the universe. So if your name does carry a vibration, and we believe that it does, then your name is basically a daily mantra that the world chants at you. And I think you should own it and choose the version of your name that feels the most like you.
Yes. Oh, okay. I want to change my name now.
To what, Princess Consuela?
Well, just to Heidi Hansen. But I'm like,
yeah. Oh, yeah. Honestly, it's not that much paperwork. You can get it done.
Well, when you're in a different country on a visa for your husband, that might cause a little bit more issues. So I'll wait. It's fine.
Well, also as a parent too, if you are a parent and you're concerned or you're about to name your kid that's coming into the world, don't worry. It will come to you. Just trust the name that does come to you. Mm-hmm. And it probably came from somewhere deeper than, a baby book.
Yep.
Even though you read it off a baby book, it probably just called to you, right? From another dimension.
Exactly. I love it. Yes.
So this is exactly the kind of conversation that we have in our membership, not like talking about our names, but talking about things that we have been told are just coincidences, right? And we are showing you that they're actual spiritual breadcrumbs, your name, your kids' names, the patterns that repeat. All of this is part of your own intuitive story. And when you start paying attention to these details, you step into a deeper relationship with yourself and with your gifts. And that's what we're here for. So if you feel so called and you want to start honing your intuitive abilities, which we all have,
Yes.
step into that power and come check out our membership at trustyourselfpodcast.com. I will put the link in the show notes so it's super easy to find.
And now,
Heidi, it's time for you to pull some tarot cards for the collective energy for this
okay,
week.
you know what's fun? Is this deck called me, and it's one I have not used in a very long time. You probably forgot I even own it because I own way too many decks. This one is the Intuitive Oracle cards.
Ooh, that's gorgeous.
They give you little nuggets of inner wisdom. So I wanted to pull this to see what it is our intuition is telling us to pay attention to this week. Okay, what are we gonna do today? What do you got for me, baby? Oh, Nikes. Hold on. We got jumpers. Oh my gosh, you guys, we got guardian angel. Your guardian angel watches over you, offering protection and support. So if you are thinking that your name, came from elsewhere, perhaps it came from your guardian angel. The other one we got is Mirror of Truth. Intuition reflects the truth like a mirror. Trust what you perceive. So maybe you can also look into the mirror and say your name and see how it feels when you're like saying your name into a mirror, because the mirror will reflect truth back to you. If there is any place in your body that feels tense or tight or weird around that, then you might notice that, or it can reflect back all the beautiful abundance and shine that comes through when you say your name. So try that out.
Yeah, I like that. I do think we all have power in our names. Even if you don't feel that aligned with your name, I think we can go looking deeper for the beauty in it. And if you think it's beautiful, it's going to suit you quite well. And it's going to reflect back on you when you say it that way. And when other people say it back to you, they're just going to see that you radiate with joy because you have found love in it. Until next time, it's your move, sis.
Make it count. Bye.
Bye. Alter ego name. 1 minute.
Hi, Frank.
Yeah, bud. Oh, how do you change your name in Minecraft?
Oh, yes. What a good question, buddy.
We can talk all about changing your name in Minecraft as soon as I'm done. Close the door, please. Close the door, please. Thank you.